Okay, hello everybody, happy Friday. My name is Roddy. I'm a product designer here at Byprompt, and this is my OTT, is for Figma for developers. I decided to talk about this because it's something that we can discuss together. It's not only about design, it's also for developers, so I think this is an interesting topic for us. A little background, I've been working in UI and UX for the last 8 years. I've been in the company for the last 3 years, and during all that time, the software for designing interfaces has been changing a lot, and we have used a bunch of tools, like, for example, Photoshop at the beginning, then Sketch, then Adobe XD, and right now, the standard for designing is Figma. Is something that is great because it's the standard for all the designs. Doesn't matter where you live, where you are. Figma is the standard tool for everybody. So let's go into it. Okay, so what is Figma? Figma is the software we are using for designer. For design is based on the cloud. So whatever you are doing is get saved on the cloud. That's great because we don't have to deal with Google Drive or having files or sharing that type of things. Everything is on the cloud, and whatever you do, doesn't matter where you are, doesn't matter what computer you are, you have your files, and you just need to have your account and your password. It is free. That's the other reason why it is so important. You have a starter, especially if you're a freelancer. It's super important to have a tool that is free for you. And then you have other Figma professional and organization, depending on what are your needs. They also have a mobile app, so you can test your designs, but this is not the conversation we are having right now. So the other question is, why Figma? Figma is really important right now because you have the collaboration on real time. So you can have 5 designers working at the same time, doing different screens, and everything is in the cloud. It's also beginner friendly. It's super straightforward for developers and designers, so it's really easy to get used to. So yes, that's the main reason, the collaboration. Another example could be you're a designer, you're a client, and then you can share the file, and you just need to see it in the browser. You don't have to download anything if you don't want to. And yes, it makes everything easier for everybody. Even you can have like marketing teams working on the copy from the design. So it's really collaborative. And that's the main reason why I think it's important. So let's get started, okay? So the requirements. The requirements, we have the account. So the idea is to share the link and send an invite to the developers. Us, the designers, we have a different type of account. We have the account with editing abilities, but when we share with developers, it's usually another type of view-only account. So if you receive a link, you will see in your email, and you will receive something more or less like this, where you can see the designs, but you can do anything on it. So it's really important to create an account. You can continue with Google, you can set up your Byprompt account, and it's super easy. In a few clicks, you are already here. So yes, that's why it's important. When you change your account, you will see something different like this. As you can tell, the interface is different. Yes, the interface is different. In the left side, you can see the layers of the design. You can have the hand tool, and you can have the comments. On the other side, you have the share link, and also the prototype tool to see if there is a prototype on it. Another interesting thing to see on the interface is the comment section. So, for example, you can come to the design, click on one specific section, and leave a comment. So, for example, let's say you want to leave something here. I don't know. and you can leave it and you will see it. Here is. So you can have threaded conversations, for example. If you are another designer, you can reply to this, and you will see a threaded conversation with some developers or even the clients. We usually use this for explaining functions and to discuss with the clients also. So yes, that will bring me to my next topic. Where it is? It's here. Yes, the requirements, the account, the interface. Next, we have the navigation, how to move around, zoom in and zoom out. Moving around the file is super simple. It's like, I always do this comparison, like using Google Maps. So if you press spacebar, it will have this hand, so you can move it to the sides and navigate through the flow. And also, if you click minus, it will zoom out. And if you click plus, you will zoom in a lot. So that's the basic of navigation on the designs. And that will take me to my other topic. That is the design details. This is where it gets more interesting because we are going to see the different styles and not so some specific code depending on the platform. So you will see the design, you will see the layers, you will see the comments, and then on the left side, you will see a little tab that is called Inspect. Click on it, and whatever you select on this side of the screen, it will show you the styles that belongs to the layer you are selecting. So for example, let's select this type. You can tell here all the properties, the width, the height, the font type, the weight, the size, and the line height. This is super important to make the designs as close as possible to make the front end as close as possible as the design. You can also tell what is the colors, and then here at the bottom, you will see have like a little CSS code that is also really important that you can copy and paste. So whatever you are selecting, for example, this other one, or for example, this image, this call to action, it will tell you the colors, the sizing, and the name of the layer. What else? Okay, platform-specific code. So let's say that you are working not on a desktop, let's say platform, but you are working on iOS or Android. You will have the ability to select the code you are looking for. So for example, this is a CSS, but if you're working for iOS, it will change the code and you can copy and paste it to use it on your own code. Also for Android works. So it's really, really interesting seeing the different codes for each platform. Next. Just to do a quick test. Everything is sounding great? All good?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have the spacing, click and hover. This is another important part of the inspect channel or tab. And why it's important? Because usually the problem with front-end and design is that sometimes the spacing is not respected by the developers. I don't want to give any fault to anybody, but usually you can tell that a product is cheap or is really great by the spacing. Sounds weird, but it is. If you have everything aligned and everything consistent in the sizing, the design will look better and more professional than having everything on disaligned or unaligned, sorry, and it will look really cheap and rushed. And nobody wants to have a bunch of tickets in Jira trying to solve the spacing. So the idea is to do it from the beginning. So the idea is that you select a layer, you zoom in, and you press Command, in case that is Mac, and you will see all the different distances, I guess, and spacing between the elements. So you can tell that back is 52 pixels from the top, and the next element, that is the back button, is 16 pixels to the left. So you can do all of it with all the elements in the screen. So you select this pricing, for example, you know that is 31 pixels distance from the main call to action, and the call to action is 28 pixels distance from the bottom of the screen. The idea is to respect everything, so make it as close as possible as the original design and make it look like it should be. Next, we have the copy content. Another example here is the content. I've been working in another projects where we have like a UX writer or a writer from marketing. So I do the designs, I keep some placeholder text like a lorem ipsum and so on, and the developers can come here, select the text layer, and it will bring you this little section here on the right side, so you can copy, and it will be on your clipboard. And you just go to your code and paste it. Super, super, super simple. It's not, you don't have to copy and transcribe everything. You just come here and select copy, and that's it. What else? Then we have the assets. We are almost done here. It's super simple. It was really basic. And the assets, I think, is the more, I guess, complex part for the developers. The usual use case is that you are working on something else, and usually you receive a Slack from a developer saying like, okay, I need this icon, I need these images, I need this or there. And the idea is that we can provide that on a folder with all the assets. But in case that something change or do you need do quick fixes, sometimes the developers can export their own assets and do it themselves. So I will do a little example. Let's say that I want to export this shoe. You have another tab next to expect that is called export. And depending on the type of asset that you are going to work, you select the type of file. So for example, this is an image, so probably you need a PNG, right? So let's export, saving it really quick. And then, let me see if it is working. Oh no, it's not working because I'm in the developer type of Figma. Anyways, that's how you select the export. So sometimes when you are working on Retina displays, you will need to have the same image, but in different sizing, keeping the proportion, but exporting it in different, measurements. So you can click here plus as many times as you want, and it will export the same image in 2 times the size, 3 times or 4 times, depending on what you want. So you can select a suffix. For example, here is at 4, and all will be a PNG. And when you export all of this, you will receive the 4 files, and you can add it to your code. Another example for this is, for example, the icons. You have an icon. The idea is that you can export it on a CSV. Another thing that I want to mention now that we are talking about exporting is the selecting of the layers. Sometimes you select this icon, and as you can tell, the sizing is really weird. So the idea is that you come to the frame, and it will show you the bounding area, the borders. That is how it's supposed to be exported an icon. As you can tell, it's 24 by 24 rather than 16 by 19 pixels. So you can come here to vector, but usually they are grouped into something bigger. So you select the frame, and this is the correct frame you want to export. Click on export, select the plus, And it is an icon, you change PNG for SVG, and you will receive the icon that you need to export and put it on the design. It also has a PDF or a JPG file type, and you can export it. So let's export this icon, let's say SVG, and you will click here, or you can also have the ability to preview it. What else? What else we have? Well, here is the design. And we have the closing talks on Figma. Well, Figma is like closing the gap between developers and designers, especially with all these inspecting and selecting and inspecting features. And when you start working with the styles, you can tell that they want to have something similar to the components that the front-end developers do, and also adding the styles, like a full page of styles. They try to do the same. So they are closing the gap between developers, front-end developers, and UI designers. On the early days, you just go to Photoshop and design on it and select the colors, but you never have the ability to copy straight the code from Photoshop. So that's why they have a really interesting thought process for this. And what else? Yes, it's still the standard tool for UI, but also you can do other stuff on it. For example, this presentation, I use it I did it in Figma too. So usually you do it on Photoshop, but now it's pretty flexible. You can do UI, you can do UX, you can do some researching, you can have other tools, you can have also plugins that make your life easier. Like, for example, you have an image and you want to remove the background from it. You have plenty of plugins. So it recently was acquired by Adobe, and I'm really excited to see what they have. They also have like conferences to show you new features and things that they are working. And in the last 3 years or 4 that I've been using Figma, it's not the same. Every year they have something new features, auto layout, and things like that are more important for designers, not for developers. But yes, it's a really exciting tool. And that's it for now. Thank you for your time. It was, for me, an interesting topic. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Roddy. That was very interesting.
Nice presentation.
Gracias, Roddy.